Hey everyone, I'm Nathan Hughes. Welcome to the Reconcile podcast. We're so glad that you're here. We believe that God is calling all of us to a better future and to look inside and see our potential. That's really what this podcast is all about. So I'm glad that you checked this message out. Hope that you enjoy it and be encouraged. Let's all go out and reconcile the world. The Bible says that getting wisdom is the wisest thing that anyone can do. And though it costs all you have, get understanding. We see over and over again that the Bible tells us that one of the greatest things that we can do is to pursue wisdom. Well, what does that mean for us in our life? How do we know when we're on the right track of becoming somebody that's wise? Journey with us as we enter into this new series through Proverbs and we learn together what it looks like to be someone that's pursuing wisdom. So I want to start just by reading Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21 through 26 over us, because I just want to show us what is attainable. Can we turn that music off in the lobby? No, it's not a rush. It's just going to distract me, this whole thing, if it's still on. Thank you so much. So I want to read this in the Message version over us, just as an intro, and then we're going to jump into tonight's message, and it's all about the inner life. So Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21 through 26 in the Message version. It says, "Dear friend," love that sweet sound. It's beautiful, seriously. I could do that. Just not that stereo out there. So listen to God's word. It says, "Dear friend, guard clear thinking and common sense with your life." Guard clear thinking and common sense with your life. Don't for a minute lose sight of them. They'll keep your soul, your inner life, alive and well. They'll keep you fit and attractive. You'll travel safely. You'll neither tire nor trip. You'll take afternoon naps without a worry. You'll enjoy a good night's sleep. My new parents right here. No need to panic over alarms or surprises, my students or people who like to sleep in for work, or predictions that doomsday is just around the corner. My people who are obsessed with end times theology, because God will be right there with you. He'll keep you safe and sound. And I just love this picture. It's a picture of an inner life that is so healthy and vibrant and whole. And I love Eugene Peterson, who wrote the Message version. I mean, who does not dread their morning alarm, right? Some of us wake up before it because we're so just stressed out that we're going to sleep through it. And it's possible to go through life and have a peace about us, even in some of the most horrific external circumstances. It's possible. How? Well, it depends on the quality of our inner life. And so we're going to talk about our inner life, and we're going to talk about how we need to prioritize our inner life above any other aspect of our life, and how also there's a way that we need to view our inner life so that we don't feel like failures, because we're complex and we're human beings, and we're not always going to know what's going on in our inner life. Welcome to being a human. So the verse that we're going to just unpack tonight comes out of Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14, and it reads this way. It says, "The human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear?" And I know that is kind of confusing, right? Remember, this language is ancient. It says the human spirit, our inner life, can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit, a crushed inner life, who can bear? Nobody. And I wanted to talk about the word spirit because it's a little bit different, I think, than what we know. So a lot of times the Bible will talk about your spirit and the Bible will talk about your heart. Over and over again, it says the heart is deceitful above all else. The heart is like the control center of our lives. So when you read the word heart, I want you to think, there's a word, the heart is the seat of decision. Your heart is like a place of desire, but a place where you actually choose from when it comes to the Hebrew language. So your heart is kind of like the control center of your life. And your spirit is different. I think a lot of us, me especially, when I think of spirit, I think of my heart. And I think of my spirit as being that place where I choose from. But your spirit is really a place where you feel from. So the Hebrew word for spirit is like wind, and the word is ruah. And it means force or power or energy. And the human spirit, the inner being, is an analogy to emotional energy. Didn't know that for a long time. So the word spirit actually is synonymous to emotional energy, that energy that actually drives us in our life. So this is what, I want you to think about that. When you read the word spirit, think of emotional energy. A person's spirit sustains them in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? And let's unpack this. Let's try to think about this in a way that's oversimplified. A person's inner life can sustain them even if their body isn't doing well. It says a person's spirit sustains them in sickness. So when you're sick, your body's not doing well. So you can still be healthy and vibrant because of your inner life, because of your spirit, even if the things on the outside aren't going so well. But it says just after that, a crushed spirit, a crushed inner life, a chaotic emotional life. Who can bear that? Nobody. Nobody. A crushed spirit is a spirit that looks to life and has no energy to live it. I mean, don't raise your hand, but has anybody ever been there? A crushed spirit is a spirit that looks to life and can't find a way to enjoy it. A crushed spirit is more apathetic towards life than anything else. You know the worst place to be? It's when you find yourself in the same place that you were last year, in the year before that, in the year before that. And you find yourself kind of in no man's land and you're just going through the motions, right? There's really no growth. That's one of the most frustrating places to be as a human being. We weren't designed to live that way. And so Proverbs says, I want you to pay attention to your inner life. Proverbs talks a lot about hard work. And oftentimes when Proverbs says that, it's talking about working hard on your inner life. We're mistaken if we really think the Bible's saying, work hard and get rich, right? That's not what the Bible's saying. It's not a self-help, self-development book. It's saying work hard on your inner life. Pay attention to your emotional health, and you will live such an abundantly rich life. Money can't even compare. Because there's a way to live life that in spite of your external circumstances, though, like, you guys, there's people in life. And I can think of one of these motivational speakers. I think he was a wrestler. He has no limbs, no arms, no legs, but this dude has a spirit about him, and he wrestles people and beats them down, and also is a motivational speaker. It's like, how does somebody get to that point in life? You want to talk about having a healthy inner life when your body is struggling on the outside, right? We see that it's possible. There's people who are going through the worst set of circumstances, but they still have joy. How? How is that possible? A person's spirit sustains them in sickness, but a crushed spirit, who can bear? There's nothing more important than the maintaining of our inner being. A broken body can be sustained by a strong spirit, but a broken spirit can never be sustained by a strong body. All my guys going to the gym, sorry, man. It doesn't matter how hard you work out if your inner life is a wreck. It doesn't. It doesn't matter how much vegetables you eat, right? All my vegan friends, if your inner life is a wreck. A broken body can be sustained by a strong spirit, but a broken spirit can never be sustained by a strong body. And here are some self-checks for us to know when our inner life is kind of out of whack. We feel anxious. We feel angry. We feel jealous. We feel afraid. And you know where this comes from? Sure, it comes from inside of us, but you know where our focus is? Outside. Oftentimes, why are we jealous? It's because we're looking to things outside of us, right? Why are we angry? It's because we're looking to things outside of us. Well, if my life was just this way, then I wouldn't be so mad. Hold up for a second. Why are you anxious? because you're looking to things outside of you and you're trying to control them. That's what you're doing. And I wrote down about these things that are outside of us that cause us to feel anxious, angry, jealous, and afraid. These are things that most often aren't always true and never even tend to pass. So a lot of times we think, well, if I just had this, I wouldn't be so angry. That's not true, because if you had that, I guarantee you would still be struggling with anger. And we go back to the paralyzed man, right? If Jesus would have just healed him and he would have walked out of there, he would have had a way bigger problem, and that's his sin problem. And we're jealous, right? We look at other people's lives on Instagram, whatever it is. Or we look at how far along other people are. And then we start to beat ourselves up. And we're looking at things outside of us, things that we have no control over, and things where we should never even be focused. Our external circumstances matter way less than our internal reality. Our external circumstances matter way less than our internal reality. How is your internal reality doing tonight? How is your inner life doing? And you guys, for all of us, it's chaotic. It's a roller coaster. You want to know why? Welcome to humanity. Welcome to being a human being. So the first thing that I want to say is you need to prioritize your inner life. How do you do that? First, you have to pay attention to it. What does it mean to pay attention to someone? It means it costs us. It's sacrifice. We actually have to pay attention to what is going on inside of us. So how do you prioritize your inner life? And for some of us, we get so caught up with life, you guys, that this is like one of those messages we hear and we're like, dang, I can't remember the last time I prioritized my inner life. When's the last time you shut your phone off for 10 minutes? Yeah, when you went to bed, cheater. I'm just kidding. That's actually good. It's really good. Maybe we should get a normal alarm clock and shut our phones off, right? Because that's all of our excuse. Well, my phone's my alarm. When's the last time you prioritized your inner life? The first thing that we need to do is we need to pay attention to it. That's it. And we need to be intentional with it. And the second thing that we do, you guys, is you need to know, we're talking about emotional energy. This isn't easy stuff, right? It's not. The Bible says that we are so complex as human beings. You know what that means? That when you pay attention to your inner life, some stuff is going to surface that's really hard. You need to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace. And for some of us, if we're honest and we're vulnerable, we don't like going into our inner life because it's so chaotic that we would rather just focus on everything outside of us. And you know what happens? You get stuck in no man's land. And then you end up in the same place internally that you've been year after year after year. And that's the worst place we can be. Life has so much less to do with our external circumstances and so much more to do with how we respond to and deal with our external circumstances. That actually shows if we have a healthy inner life. How do you respond when things don't go your way? How do you respond when you're asked to do some gutter work in life, right? You're like, hey, I paid my dues. I shouldn't have to do this. Whoa, what's going on there? What's going on there? That happened to me recently. Whew, it was tough. It was hard. I didn't want to go there. It was a good check, though. I wanted to show you guys a verse when Paul was praying for one of the churches in Ephesus. I love this. I love when the Bible connects this. In Ephesians chapter 3, verse 16, he says, I pray that out of his glorious riches, he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit. Where? In your inner being. In your inner being. So when Paul prays for the churches, he prays for strength. But where does he pray for the strength at? In their inner being, in their inner life. See, Paul knew. He knew that the health of our inner life determined the health of our entire life. He knew that. And for some of us, and this is for all of us, right? For all of us at times, our life is a wreck, but internally we have this strength. We have this strength about us. And we don't let our external circumstances dictate our internal health. Because we know We know that it's not about what's going on outside of us. We know that it's about what's going on inside of us. But for some of us in life, life can be fine, right? It can actually be better than fine. It can be amazing. But we're an emotional wreck. Did you know that there's some people who are so successful, but they pray for a change in life because they're so tired of the monotony of whatever it is that they're doing? It's crazy. So it's possible that our life could actually be better than fine. It could be amazing, especially, you want to talk about comparing our lives with the rest of the world? We're so blessed. We're so blessed. But for some reason, there's something off about us. We don't have a passion for life. We feel more apathetic than anything else. And life is actually really good. And it's because we've been focusing on the wrong things. And you guys, the more spiritual you get, the more wise you become, the more useful you should be to other people. And this is what I wanted to tell you guys. Some of you are gonna laugh, and some of you might get offended. You wanna know how to start paying attention to your inner life? How clean is your room? Yeah. You think I'm joking, right? How clean is your car? Sam. This is for all of us. It's not. My trunk is a mess right now. And I wanted to tell you guys, for some of you, the most spiritual thing that you can do this week is you can clean your room. For some of you, the most spiritual thing that you can do this week is you can clean out your car. And don't just put everything in your trunk. We get so caught up in like theology, right? Did you know that it can be a sweet, sweet moment with you and the Lord when you're cleaning up your room? And start to pay attention to your room. I'm telling you, my wife changed my life with this. I used to not care much about what my house looked like on the inside. And now my house, it breathes life into me. Because I'm paying attention to my house, right? I don't let it get cluttered. She doesn't let me leave dishes in the sink. And that's doing something to my inner life. So I'm serious. And you can't just clean your room. You have to pay attention to your room, right? We have to be people that keep a clean room. We don't want our lives to become a wreck and then we got to go clean it up. No, we have to learn how to pay attention to it. And this is an analogy, and like the Lord is going to use it for you in your life, however he wants to, but I'm telling you, your life will start to change when you start to pay attention to these things. Our inner life is the most important aspect of our life.